Lucy, thank you so much for bringing me to your favourite bar, the Miners in Ballinagary, County Tipperary.
Thank you, Garry. Thank you for having me. Yeah, we're at the Miners Rest in Ballinagary in Tipperary. It's a local community pub, so it's just down the road from me. We
Yeah.
are a mining town originally, so hence the name for the pub. We had a mine here from 1826 up into the 80s. In fact, I think they actually tried to get it going again in the early 90s. But
Wow.
we're small community now, mainly farming, so a lot of dairy farmers around here. But if you want to find out what's going on in the village, what's happening, this is the pub you need to go to. Friday, Saturday night, live music, all of the banter, find out what's going on with the GAA. Come to Ryan's.
Honest to God, I did a Google search for the background.
Mm-hmm.
One shot of inside. One.
It's not the prettiest pub inside, I'll give you that. It's the outside is nice. That's why I've got this shot here.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I was just going to say, you obviously have been here a few times, so you're not going in. I'm in. I'm right. I'm fully invested in this whole thing. And isn't it interesting? All the things you just said there and the intro, the transition from a mining town and the fact that it's a center of sort of local information. Pubs in I'm a townie, I think you call me. We don't probably get a full appreciation as much as those that live in the country of the importance of the GAA and local pubs, because a lot more goes on there than just drinking alcohol, right?
Oh yes, yeah. It's definitely the communication hub for the town. If you want to know anything, you want to get something done, the pub is where you go, either to meet that person that you need to do the work for you, or to find out what's really going on with something else that you've heard on the grapevine in the village.
Now, I'm not a expert in a linguist expert, but that is not a Ballinagary accent. I know that for sure.
I am working on it slowly but surely. I've been in Ballinagary for a year and a half now, married to a tip man for 15 years. So it's creeping in. I think originally from Manchester in England, but I've been in Texas for the last 16 years. So basically, I have no accent left. I think I've got no home. I'm a bit of a nomad. So
Wow.
now I'm in Ballinagary.
So I got to ask you, when you lived in Texas, did you have a hat?
Of course, yes. You got it. It's a rite of passage. You have to get the cowboy boots and the hat.
Really?
Yeah, it's good to go to the rodeo. If you're ever in Texas, make sure you time it to go with the Houston or the Dallas rodeos. They go
Yeah.
on for a full month. Best barbecue around, good margaritas, good country music.
It's huge, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Texas. It's insane. I went on a flight once from Charlotte to the west coast of the States. Don't ask me why, but the main 5 hours of it was across Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 hours or 4 hours, whatever it was. And that's 3/4 of the way to America.
Yeah, the state is the same size as France. So I think I went once on a trip to a well site from Houston into Midland on the same road, the I-10. I drove it for 10 hours. So we got in the truck, point and drive. Nobody told me there was a tachometer in this thing. So a few hours in, my boss gave me a little call and said, Leadfoot Lucy, slow down. Got to get there safely. But yeah.
Scale. It's just, it's all relative to where you're born. So listen, there's a big, massive electrical storm. The whole of Ballinagary, and everything is wiped out except for your phone with 3 apps. What do you think you couldn't live without on your phone?
I think the number one thing I couldn't live without is my WhatsApp. So I have to know friends, family. Again, having lived around the world, I have lots of friends in different places, communicate with everyone, shared photos of my children as they're growing up, things that we're up to, and make sure we keep those connections going, even though we could be separated by distance. My sister's over in Australia and family in the UK, obviously friends and family in the UK, in Houston and US as well. So definitely number one would be WhatsApp. I think number two for me would be some sort of GPS map. So probably a Waze or something like that. Okay. I have a hideous obvious sense of direction. You can point me in completely the wrong way, turn me around, I'll get lost. I probably wouldn't be able to find my way home from the end of the street. So if I've got my ways, I'm good. The other side of it is traveling from Tip into Dublin regularly. Damn, that Dublin traffic is not fun. So having the ability to know where the traffic is, where I need to go, where the police are on the road as well, going back to my Let's Put Lucy story, is always useful to know.
Lucy, this is going out to the world. Why would you, for a moment, be concerned about the police?
No, I would never be, because I stick to the speed limit at all times.
Great answer. And the third one?
The third one would be some sort of news app, finding out what's going on in the world. So I'd have to have some sort of news to keep me connected to everywhere.
Isn't that wonderful? So the three apps that you use, one is to keep you connected, and the other is to keep you informed, and the other is to keep you in the right direction. You could write a book, and it could be about these three apps, and it could be all these analogies and stuff that you've got going on. But the one thing that's clear is, with all of the negativity, and there is definite societal shifts and changes associated with social media, and I guess we can call, or can we, WhatsApp part of that messaging social media thing. The amount of people who just say at this stage now, that constant being able to contact with a picture or a little video or even voice. My kids don't, they send me these one-way voice messages. But I just got to lean into it and accept that that's the way they want to communicate with me. I like two-way conversations myself, but if that's what they decide, it's incredible that on this show, the amount of people who usually take WhatsApp or equivalent messaging, it has such a great role as well.
It really does. I think particularly as you do, we are more connected globally now. If you have grandkids, people like that in other countries, other places, it makes you feel part of their lives. It's not the same as it used to be with a letter and a visit every now and again. I know that from my experience being in the US, family over in the UK. I can remember the kids were a bit strange the first time they saw their grandparents. This is granddad from the TV, or this is granddad from the iPad, he's here. But they knew each other. They definitely recognized each other. And I think that's the positive that's come from these apps and this connection we have now.
So you've got your three apps and you've got your phone, and I'm really getting into sitting at that bar having a pint, and I say, Lucy, teach me something now. Teach me something in the next couple of minutes. Is there anything you can teach me that I would find interesting now? You could teach me about loads of things, but I might not feel them. So what do you think you could teach me and the listeners
I think when I thought about this, it was what can I do? So as you said, there's lots that you could go down, a lot of rabbit holes here. But I went back to, as you've been around the corporate world for a while, we get on all of these different training courses, and they do these personality quizzes about what kind of person are you, what color person are you, different hats for different thinking styles. We've been on them all, some of them good, some of them bad. But there was one course I went on probably about 4 years ago that I think had the most impact on me. It was a Sen Delaney change management course. At that time, the company I was in was going through a lot of flux, and they wanted to help the management to help the staff and support them through those changes. And there was a couple of different things that came up on that course, but the number one thing that stuck with me was about energy management. So we talk a lot about managing your time. Make sure you've got time to do this. Make sure you have time to do that. Time is a finite resource. Use it wisely. But we don't talk as much about energy. So if you think at the end of the day, you've had a busy day, you're dashing around one meeting to the other, you get it to the dinner table in the evening, and your family wants to talk. You don't want to talk to anyone. Go off and watch your iPad. Don't talk to me. And then you feel guilty that you're not spending that time with the kids. They want you to go and do some Lego with them or read with them, but you're so knackered from the day that you can't give them that time.
Yes.
And that's something that course came. It said you've got to look at managing the energy. Energy isn't finite. You can get more energy, but things through the day will zap and take energy away from you. So identify those things and see if you can change them, but also identify what energizes you, what excites you, build more of that into the day. So when you get home at night, the people that matter most, you've got energy left for them. And I think that's something that just really resonated and stuck with me, because as we talk, I could, in my mind, as we talk about it, I remember those nights and those times when you'd come in and you've got nothing left for anybody that really matters by the end of the day.
And what's interesting about that is a lot of the courses you go on they're all about the business world you live in, the business, and how can we get better return on investment, and how can we change our teams, and and yet that particular thing that you learned is very sort of holistic in your life, because it affects what you did the first 8 hours, affected what you did the second 8 hours, and then sort of what's the things we think about most in the middle of the night as you get a bit older. It's sort of, I should have done stuff with people, not with places, and not with money. So it's great for such a young woman to take that away early and get priorities. People drain me of my energy more than anything. People, certain people. What's sort of your biggest strain while we're on the subject? What would be your biggest strain? Long meetings, or I know you're in a different world to me maybe sometimes, but what would it be?
I think it usually does go back to people. But I think for most of us, it is, because it's in those meetings, it's that certain personality. There's always one person in the room that can pull it down. And that was part of this course, is how your actions, if you come in the office in the morning and you had a bad commute, you're in a bad mood, how that affects the people around you and pulls them down to your level. And if you're around optimistic people that are grateful, they're going to lift your mood, and with that, lift the energy that you're bringing, and as a team and a collective you're bringing. So I think that's what I think affects me the most is the people, and then you can equally have an effect on others by looking at what you're doing and how you're interacting with people.
Lucy, I see a book. I just when I'm listening to you, I'm thinking this lady's going to write a book one day, and it's going to be a bestseller. Life with Lucy. I can just see it, right? Can you? I can just see it. And you're going to have a blog, and you're going to be one of these people that sort of like you zone in and you be referenced. So you're there, you're thinking about sort of what you're going to do with the next phase, and you're looking at buying the lottery, and you go and you buy the lottery, you win it, $1 million quid, the local lottery, let's say, $1 million quid. Lucy, you've won $1 million, pounds, yen, or whatever. What are you going to do with it?
Well, initially I'm going to go to Ryan's and have a pint, but if we're after that,
I thought you were going to say I'm going to Ryan's, I'm going to buy Ryan's, but anyway, that's a different discussion.
The pints are on me. I'm the new millionaire of Ballingarry.
Yeah.
Once I've done that, I'll be looking at investing back in the community. We read a lot right now about cost of living and how that's affecting people, energy prices, and how that's affecting people as well, and their spare income, families on the poverty line, basically, because of that cost. And it's actually a community project that's been successful in Australia. So for my sister over there, she tells me a lot about what's happening. And it's a solar and community battery project. So what that is a community, so such as Ballingarry, or a street if you're in a town like Dublin, and fitting solar on those houses. So when you talk to people, I have a lot of friends again here in Ireland looking into solar, but they're not moving forward with it. And a lot of the reason they're not is that cost of the installation, maintenance, replacement concerns. So in these schemes, the scheme would pay for the solar to be fitted on the houses. So the houses that have the solar panels, they benefit from having that reduced energy bill, because the solar will take on the lion's share of the electric. Any excess solar energy that's generated would be stored in a community battery that then would be given to the surrounding houses. So that could help them with peak energy costs. So it helps with a bit of peak shaving there. You can use it in things like grid services as well to earn a little bit of revenue. And then once you've paid off that battery, you then move to the next community and you start building this forward. So you're helping with the green energy. So you're getting more green renewable energy onto the grid. You're helping with cost of living for those houses, and particularly if you start with poor areas, poorer houses, helping them cut their costs so they've got more free income. And then you can move forward, and as you get the more of these batteries going with kind of a prosumer model, if you like, of the people in those houses are not just consuming energy now, they're producing it as well, they're becoming more aware, you're building that community spirit around that battery. You can then take those pools of batteries to the suppliers and negotiate better contracts with them when you have them. So getting better supply contracts from the supplier side, if they can use them, for example, on blustery, wintry nights where they've got a lot of excess wind generation, instead of curtailing that wind, they can store it in the community battery. So for them, it can be, I'm sure, some sort of write-off. They can use it in some sort of way to show they're supporting the communities they work in, they're sustainable, but you're also letting the people on the street see the direct impact from this as well.
And it's tangible.
Yeah.
It's tangible. Wow, Lucy. So now not only have you got a best-selling book, you're going to win some form of a Nobel Peace Prize for community engagement. I've got it all worked out for you. I could be I could be an agent, maybe. I see you doing great things. But the key thing to what you're saying there is it's all part of change. And sometimes we find that what we can't feel and touch, we're not comfortable with. But as you're talking there, all I can think of is in Ireland, rural Ireland, in the 40s and 50s, with cooperatives, farming cooperatives. And a lot of the principles and fundamentals of what you're saying there was the power of the collective, that if we collect all of our milk together and we put it into a central location, managed, then we can negotiate better X, Y, and Z. So if you really, what we're doing is with a different utility or different electrons, that's the problem. We can't see it. Milk you could see, right? But if it's presented in a way that it's really a form of cooperative, which farming, you said earlier, is mostly that's what it is it? Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly the way to think of it, is communities working together to get a better deal for that community, for what they are delivering.
Yeah. And it's helping on so many fronts as well. But Lucy, it's been short and sharp, but we've covered so much. We've been everywhere, haven't we? We've been Texas. We even went to Australia there for a bit of battery discussion. We've talked about sort of kids, not much. It's been great. Thank you so much for your time. And also congratulations, you're in on our gang now on hosting Ireland.
I am indeed. Thank you.
Are.
Yeah, seeing everybody soon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to see you, and you're most welcome. And I wish you the best. And thank you so much for your time.
Lovely to talk to you. Cheers. Bye.